Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. And the monster we're going to take a look at today is once again from the Fiend Folio, and the name of this monster is the NORKER. It's a weird name, but NORKER. So what in the ever-living hell is a NORKER? Well, a NORKER is a relative of a hobgoblin, and really it's mostly the same. They're 1+1 hit die, and they have an armor class of 3, and that's because they have a very tough and rough outside skin. It's almost like an exoskeleton, so it gives them lower armor class than a real hobgoblin does. They also have 2 fangs, and they attack with the fangs when they get within weapon distance, as well as using a weapon, typically a club. But the fangs will each do 1 to 3 points of damage. They're not poisonous, but those are 2 potential extra hits per round that a regular hobgoblin would not have. Now beyond that, they're like 4 feet tall. They're roughly maybe a little bit shorter than a hobgoblin, but right in that range, and their average intelligence, but rare. And like their goblin and hobgoblin brethren, they are also chaotic evil. Just a very small twist on the hobgoblin. And okay, it has a little bit more extra oomph because of the fangs, and they're a little bit harder to hit because of the lower armor class. And remember, back in this day and age, in D&D, the lower the armor class, the better. Obviously, things have changed since then. So, of course, the NORKER lives in similar settings as the goblins and hobgoblins, which means they're frequently in subterranean settings. And do us dwarves run across them? Well, heck yeah. But they're awfully darn rare. People don't run across them very often. And when they do, I mean, goblins are like an arch enemy for us dwarves. So their related brethren are pretty much in the same class. And I can't say that we've actually stopped to have a conversation with them or anything like that. It's usually just squish them. We tend to do more squishing of them than anything else. It's just the way dwarves and goblins, well, don't get along famously. But we definitely run into them. Just like I said, very, very rare. Compared to, say, a hobgoblin, probably, every 100 times we run into hobgoblins, maybe we run into NORKERs once or twice. Orkers? Porkers? Porkers sounds a lot more interesting, but oh well. So the NORKER is definitely something that, yeah, it's out there, but it's not frequently found. Of course, in the gaming world, it may be different. So I went out to the greater Hornhelm community, of course, and asked the dungeon masters and players and said, hey, the NORKER from the Fiend Folio, do you ever run into one, ever use one, etc., etc.? What do you think? Rank it. And the dungeon masters I spoke to, there were a few who would use them and said, yeah, it's just a twist on the hobgoblin, and I wouldn't rank it more than a 2, and probably more like a 1, 1.5. Yeah, I would agree with that. They're not different enough to warrant much further consideration. So really, in talking to the players about it, they came back and said, well, the NORKER, yeah, they've run across it a couple of times. There isn't very many people on either side who would really run into these. And they said, well, yeah, we ran into them, and yeah, they were probably between a 1 and a 2. They really weren't all that different. Yeah, the fangs were an extra thing, but creatures like this are really only dangerous if you have a very, very low level party, and even then they should have a number of them. Otherwise, it's not a very difficult encounter. So yeah, overall, I can't argue with the assessments by either the dungeon masters or the players. It's not the most difficult creature out there, but it gives you something that is a little bit of a twist and another low-level 1+ or 1- hit die that is good for using with newer characters or newer players, but it gives you a few extra options. Nothing wrong with that. So that, my friends, is the NORKER. We hope you found today's presentation to be interesting, amusing, educational, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please be so kind as to leave us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Definitely drop us a line or share with your friends, but please come back and see us again real soon. We thank you so very much for your kind support. Take care, everyone. And remember, dwarves rock!